Chef Craft here with another episode of True Abutment's InTRUview, coming to you from Huntsville, Alabama. You know, 50 years is a long time to own any business, and most fail in that time frame. But that is not the case with Oral Arts Dental Laboratories. In fact, they have only strived over the years. Now, this family-owned business, they truly lead by example. What do you say we sit down with Vice President Matt Winstead and Director of Operations Tiffany Winstead to see how they've continued to thrive in this ever-changing industry. You ready? Let's go. Tiffany, thank you so much for letting me come in. What a story this is over the last, over 50 years now. Tell me about your dad. Where did this idea of becoming a dental lab owner, what's the story that you guys know?
Well, the story that I know is that he was a valet car parking attendant when he was 16 in Mobile, Alabama. While he was parking the cars, a dental lab delivery driver saw him doing the car parking because he was making a delivery to a dentist client, and my dad asked him what he was doing. He explained he worked at a dental lab. He never heard what a dental lab was, and the guy offered him a job because the guy wanted to go into the lab to be a technician and he needed to be replaced as a driver. And supposedly that within the first year he learned every single thing, how to do everything in the lab. He went immediately from the driver into the lab and started cleaning the lab, and then he would be the first person there in the morning. He would be waiting on the curb in the morning. I think the owner got there at like 5:30, and he would stay until the last person had left and just learned everything.
Really, from the ground up, he went through every step that is needed in order to create a company that it
at
is
age
today.
16.
What a great work ethic.
And I do remember him telling us that he was going to give it 1 year. And he said, I'm going to try this for a year, and if it doesn't work, then I'm out, and I'm going to do something different.
51 years later, this
Exactly.
company has grown into a behemoth in the industry. It truly has. How you guys came into the industry, was it forced? You're the youngest. You're the oldest of the siblings. It was completely forced.
For me, no, it was definitely, I wanted to be, But I started when I was 15, coming to the lab, just kind of helping out where I needed to help out.
Yeah, tell me about the lab when you first started going in and hanging out with your
dad.
dad.
Oh gosh, we had probably, I would say, 30 employees, maybe even less than that. And we may need help on the waxing bench, and he'd say, come over here, I'm gonna teach you how to wax today, and sit down and start waxing, or you may be in the porcelain room doing something in there, or it was just like I was bouncing around just doing work.
Just kind of bounced around and learned the lab overall. How did you get introduced? Since you're the youngest, were you more rambunctious, and did you fight it at all, or did you just embrace it?
I didn't really fight it, but during the summers I would come up and trim the bushes and all the shrubs and everything. I would trim those in the summer.
Did you really?
Yeah. And then I went to college and got a degree in management, and after that started in the lab. The next day after I graduated, the next day I started here.
So you had no choice.
Yeah.
You had no chance to do anything
Straight
else.
line.
That's what it was. Let's talk about the campus. You guys really make it a feeling for the almost over 400 employees that you currently have, a place to call home. You've got, places for them to sleep if they like, an apartment on set. There's an event center that I've read about, but I don't know anything about it. But you guys have created this. Where did this all come from to create this campus-like feel?
Well, this used to be a hotel. This whole building was a hotel high-rise, and in the back where the apartments are for the employees was like a motel-style two-floor building. and we purchased it in 2005. And when we moved here, we had only maybe about 110 people. And just every single year we grew and grew and grew until now we actually are almost about running out of space here. I think we have close to about 400 people here now. And the rooms in the back just happened to be a good idea to have employee apartments in. So we rented those out. And over the years, as we've outgrown the parking here, we found other buildings behind us to purchase to give us more parking, and eventually those can become more production area. It just little by little grew steadily and slowly, yeah.
What does staying on the forefront truly mean? Is it getting the best equipment? What does it mean to you, making sure that you have all the equipment necessary in order for you guys to stay, a leader in this industry?
I think a lot of it has to do with knowing the right people, because it's one thing to go to a company's website or listen to a sales rep, but if you have a lot of friends in the industry and you know the leaders in the industry, most of them are pretty open. And if you have those friendships, you can text somebody and say, have you heard of this? Or they'll tell you what they're using, or anything that's groundbreaking that somebody's not going to come and tell you just reading a magazine or picking up the phone. It's so easy to spend $200,000 or $300,000 on a piece of equipment and really regret it later. But if you don't know the right people who have those experiences, then you have to learn them the hard way. And that takes time to develop. It takes a career to get those relationships. It takes a lot of travel, takes going to a lot of meetings.
That's what I was going to say. You would think that in order to create those relationships, it's not just locally, it's not just
no, it's national, it's worldwide.
It's international.
Yeah, it
right?
is, yeah.
So, an owner or somebody that's been around for 20 years, 25 years, 10 years, where do they choose to go? What is that right path for them? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are watching right now. They're like, okay, hey, these building relationships, I have a lot of relationships, but I'm still in a rut right now. I'm not sure why. What would you suggest to them?
Going back to the original topic of the networking, I think that now, like, people think so much about online and webinars and Facebook groups and things like that. And that is good, and I do that, but that's not really going to get you on one-on-one friendship level. I think that you need to get out, now that we're coming down off of COVID, you got to get to meetings and have drinks at the bar with people and have dinners and get to know people. And then once you have that kind of propels, because one person knows another person, and you don't get that from mutual friends on Facebook. Usually the rut comes is because you don't have enough work. A lab that has a lot of work is not in a rut. They're in a good place. So I think the rut comes from not having enough business, and if you don't have enough business, because not enough dentists know about you, and that points to the marketing, which is really, really important. But having the equipment and good technology that's maybe 25% of the equation. That's not gonna be what propels the lab to be successful.
True Abutment, where did that relationship start? How did it start? And what's it been like working with True Abutment?
For me personally, I actually remember the first time I started seeing True Abutment ads in the trade journals. It wasn't because somebody told me about it or a sales rep called me. Every month I try and look through every single page of all the trade journals, and I started seeing True Abutment. I'm like, what is True Abutment? What stuck out to me the most was it's basically a customized multi-unit abutment that allows a wider divergence of implant placement by the doctor and still have passivity of the prosthesis, which I had never seen before, and nobody at the time I don't think was doing it. And so that really stood out to me, like, okay, True Abutment, they have something that you've never seen, which is pretty rare. And I just kept watching them, and before I knew it, we were using them. I had known who we were using, and I started to hear True Abutment. I'm like, oh, we're trying out True Abutment as a part supplier. And the feedback that I got inside the lab was they liked it better than who we had used before, or this was better for that reason or whatnot. And I think it's just steadily grown. But that's how I heard about it.
A legacy with your father. I mean, he has created a legacy in this industry. Is that intimidating? Is that intimidating to you as being a director of operations? Like, I have to maintain this because this has been going on for a long. You helped build that, obviously, as well. But there's still a legacy with the Winstead family.
It's funny. We were at a show one time, and somebody came up to me and asked me, "How many employees do you have?" I kind of hesitated, because I was thinking, well, we have 275 employees, and they were like, "What?" That's just what it is, And he was really taken back. I'll never forget his expression, and I just didn't even think about it because, we're just living here, trying to make it smooth.
You could look at it in a way that would crumble you with pressure.
Yeah.
When you're small, of course, it all boils down to one or two people, but it's not all up to us to make it work. It's up to the team to make it work. And we have to support the team and do our best, of course, but it's not going to rise and fall on one individual. And so long as we have a good team and we focus on working with the best people that we can possibly find, then we're very likely to be successful. But it is big shoes to fill, mm-hmm. and we want it to be successful. And the doctors in the labs laboratories especially, will say you're only as good as your last case. And it doesn't matter how big you are. I mean, if every case that goes out today is bad, then we're basically just heading towards the bottom, and we'll have nothing in a matter of maybe a year or two. So long as all those cases are to the standard and they get to the doctor basically on time and everybody's treated well and you stand behind your work, then you'll be there the next day, and then you got to do that tomorrow, and then you'll be there the next day. The legacy's there because every single day you do that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Right.
Tiffany, man, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. Now, I understand there is a lot to see here on this campus, and so I'm going to start wandering around and meet more of your folks.
Okay. You like to roller skate?
Do I like to roller? Yeah.
Okay. Why?
I keep hearing about roller skating. Not many dental labs have a CFO.
That's true.
I'll meet you up top. So explain to me what happens here on the second floor. This is a busy part of the lab.
So once it's fully cured, it alerts us, lets us know, and we can take these models right off the printer.
I'm telling you, this place, it's like a city.
Do you roller skate?
Why does everybody ask me about roller skating? You have got to be kidding me. You got skee ball, you've got pool.
Probably gonna miss.
What do you get?
Oh, I got it.
What can I say? This is what I do for work.